What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to my channel. I'm KT. Thank you so much for being here. In this video, we're going to cover body education. And what we're going to talk about is winter weight. Have you ever noticed that in the winter, we seem to hold on to body fat, gain weight, or it's like incredibly hard to lose it in the winter months? Why is that? And there's actually science behind it. There's science behind a lot of things. So I want to cover that in today's video. Before I get into that, you may notice that if you watch all my videos, this is the same outfit I had on in the last video. You want to know why that is? I record them on the same day. Now, if you are a YouTuber out there, batch recording is in my opinion, recommended. Like you can get a lot done in one day. While I could have given you the illusion that this was a different day by changing my shirt and changing my hat, if you remember on one of my very first videos I made on the channel, I told you that I would always be transparent. So yeah, I could have gave you that illusion, or I could just be honest and be like, I recorded them on the same day, and what's wrong with that? Because I did. So stop that. Apart from that side note, let's get into today's video. How I'm going to structure this video is first give you the list of why we have this winter weight. Winter weight. Say that 3 times fast. And then on the other half of this video, I'm going to pretty much relist those, but I'll tell you what you can do about them. So we got our problem, and then we have our solutions. Let's do it. Number 1, and this is the main one. A lot of things fall under this umbrella, and that is lack of sunlight. So the first thing that the lack of sunlight does is affect our circadian rhythm, right? So we're getting up at different times, we're going to bed at different times, and our melatonin levels are increased. Melatonin, if you don't know, is the sleep hormone. So when you are sleeping more, you are naturally moving less, right? So that's our first thing. This lack of sunlight affects our circadian rhythm. The second thing lack of sunlight does is, whether you want to admit it or not, even if you are anti-sun, you hate the sun, guess what? Your body doesn't. So our moods are naturally decreased and suppressed. Serotonin drops in the winter because we also have this lack of sunlight. We're not going outside as much. We're not getting as much sun exposure. And again, whether or not you like the outdoors or not, it's still reflected in your mood and in your hormone levels because of this lack of sunlight. So that's our second thing that lack of sunlight does. Third thing that this lack of sunlight does is prevents us from going outside, right? So like we don't really want to, the sun's not coming up till almost 8 a.m. and it's going down by 6 p.m. Most people don't want to be outside when it's nighttime, right? So we're getting a very short window of being able to even be out and be active if we wanted to. And then on top of that, actually, I'll say that for my next point. But yes, so this lack of sun exposure is keeping us indoors more, which is, again, causing us not to move as much. And then the fourth thing and final that the lack of sun exposure does to our body is makes our body want to hold on and store fat. Like it actually chemically alters our bodies to want to hold on to things. And while our bodies do burn more calories trying to stay warm because it also is cold in the winter, at the same time it also wants to store our fat because it's kind of afraid that we're gonna die, because that's our body likes to overreact. So yes, so lack of sun exposure is our number 1 thing. Our number 2 thing is this being cold. So like I said, because it's cold outside, we don't want to spend much time out there. So our activity levels are dropping. We're not as active. When you think about it, in the summertime, the sun's up like before 6 a.m. and it's not going down to 9. So you can theoretically, if you wanted to, you can get up with the sun, you can go out and you can be out all day doing all kinds of stuff, come home around 8 p.m., you still got a little bit of sunlight, you feel like, oh, it's still in the daytime, you can make dinner, whatever, but you had a good 12 hours of movement. When the winter comes, that 12 hours drops to about 8 hours, so you're getting 4 hours of less activity just by it being winter time. And then on top of that, with that coldness comes that fatigue and that less energy. So even during the hour that we have where we could be outside doing stuff, we don't want to be. We're tired, we want to be inside cuddling, we want to be watching TV, we want to be eating our comfort foods, which That's going to be my third point. But we want to be indoors. We don't want to be doing anything else. Like, we're tired, we're sleepy, we want to be inside. So we're just naturally not moving. All these things, lack of sun exposure, and it being cold, is keeping us indoors and keeping us not wanting to move. That's just the way of the world. If we go back to before we were in the society we're in today, before we had indoor heating and things like that, it made sense. Like, it's cold, we can't be out here, we're going to die. Like, we have to be inside, we have to save out this fire, we have to eat foods, our scarce sources, because only certain stuff grows in the winter, which is my other point. But so it made sense when that's how we live. But now that we're in a more modern and advanced society, things don't have to be that way, but our bodies haven't caught up to that, if that makes sense. So that's my second point, it being cold. My third point is that nutrition. So like I said, we because we're sad, because we want to be comforted, we're eating comfort food. So the pastries, all the pies, all these things that we're eating, those are packing on a lot of calories. So we're eating more and we're moving less. And then on top of that, we have this concept of eating with the season. Well, what stuff grows in the winter? What foods are considered fall and winter foods? Well, we got pumpkins, we got potatoes, we got butternut squash. We have apples and things like that are also good. And those foods aren't bad for us, but they're heavy foods, is what I'm saying. So you eat those things. Again, we're already tired, we're already sluggish, and then you're going to pack on some French fries, you're going to pack on some mashed potatoes, you're going to eat some soup. And what's that going to do? It's going to make you feel cozy. It's going to make you get in bed. So these aren't foods that are, what's the word I'm looking at? They aren't foods that are bringing you this, I want to go out and do stuff. Like, oh, I feel all energetic, now let me go outside. It's like, oh, that soup is so warm and cozy, now let me cuddle up and take a nap. Like, these are foods that are putting you to sleep, essentially. So that's our other issue that we have to deal with in the wintertime. And then my last thing is all these holidays. Have you ever noticed, and I knew this from being in school, but it's January to the first half of the year. Well, I guess if we're talking in school terms, the second half of the year goes by so slow because you don't really get too many breaks. You get spring break and then maybe Easter, but what do you really have, right? But then once the first half of the year for school or second half of the year for just the calendar year comes about, you're getting off all the time. After Labor Day, what do we got next? Then we got Halloween, and what's Halloween consist of? We got candies, we got pies, we got all these sweets and treats. And what's after that? Now we got Thanksgiving. We're about to pack on a whole week. How long Thanksgiving leftovers last? So it's we got a whole week of just eating all this stuff. And then what we got? Then we got Christmas, and then so it's we're having all these holidays and functions that are causing us to have to prepare more foods, and they aren't salads and foods that are going to instill energy in you. There are those foods that you want to take a nap after. So that's our other combat for winter. So let me do a little recap because I feel like I may have been going all over the place. But 1, lack of sun exposure. 2, our mood is going down. 3, it being cold. And then 4, all of these holidays that continue to come up. And then 5, which kind of goes with the food, I suppose, but the eating with the season. So I may just kind of scratch that and just combine that with the second one. So here's all the issues that we deal with the winter. And more or less words, basically, we're moving less and we're eating more. And that's, in simple terms, what's happening. Okay, so now that we know what our problems are, what do we do about them? Number 1, lack of sunlight. While there's nothing we can do about that, we can't help that the sun is only out for 8 hours of a day instead of the 12 hours of a day that we were used to. What we can do is maximize the time that we do get. So, yeah, I know it's cold. Depending on where you live, it's definitely, regardless of where you live, it's going to be colder than it was in the summer. So go outside anyway. And it doesn't have to be direct sunlight. Maybe you just get in the car and drive around for a little bit. At least the sun is coming through the window. Maybe you sit by the window sill in your apartment or in your home, open the windows, let some sun in. If you had a dog, would you just let your dog never take walks or be outside in the winter because you're cold? So pretend you have a dog. I wouldn't recommend just going and get one so you can take it on walks, but pretend you're the dog and just take yourself on like a small little walk at the highest peak of the day. So maybe like around noon or 2 o'clock when like it is the warmest it can possibly be that day. You could just go outside anyway and stack up on your vitamin D vitamins. You should take them all year long if you need to, but definitely if you're not taking them in the summer, take them in the winter. Like, this is going to help put in that vitamin D in your body. So that's what we can do about this lack of sun exposure. The second thing we can do regarding our mood is to try to find things that make you happy during this time frame. So that can be an indoor activity, that can be an outdoor activity if that's your thing. That can be maybe spending more time talking to your family members because, in the summer, maybe we all get a little busy because it's warm and it's exciting. Maybe in the winter, this could be your time to sit in the house and talk to families and friends that you love. Take up a hobby, do some painting, start crocheting or knitting. Just do something that gives you little dopamine boosts throughout the day. Connect with people, love on yourself. Just try your best to boost your own mood and bring happiness to yourself. Another thing we can do is keeping your schedule the same. So if in the summertime you got up at, let's say, 6 a.m., keep getting up at 6 a.m. in the winter. Just because, the sun isn't up yet doesn't necessarily mean you can't be up. So why I say this is because, like I mentioned, we tend to sleep in more and go to bed earlier because of this lack of sunlight. We're tired, we want to be in bed. But if you can still get up and go to bed at the same time as you were all summer and continue to move during those hours, your energy balance doesn't necessarily have to change too much. So keep your schedule the same. Still get up. If you were going to the gym at 6 a.m. in the summer, go to the gym at 6 a.m. in the winter. If you were taking evening walks, at 7 o'clock before bed, maybe you take them at 4 instead, but you still take them. You know what I'm saying? So try not to make your activity levels change too much. Or you can even change the activities you were doing. So, like, for example, let's say you were doing swimming for your cardiovascular activity in the summertime. But who wants to, you absolutely can. And that'd be great if you can't stick to the activity, go to an indoor pool and still do your swimming. But if you don't want to have to go through all that hassle of changing and then going outside with your hair a little bit wet after swimming, then do something else. Take up an indoor cycling class in that time period. Take a HIIT class or, just change the activity to something else that's going to suit the weather. You don't have to not do it at all. That brings me to a similar point is keep your nutrition the same. One of the perks of the society that we're in is that we can get certain fruits and vegetables all year round because they're being imported from other places or, they're being grown in labs or, whatever the case. So it's like if you started every morning with like a nice fruit salad, just because it's cold outside now doesn't mean you still can't eat that fruit salad in the morning. So try to keep your nutrition the same. Yes, we're going to want those comfort foods and by all means you can have them, but just do your best to try to keep your eating patterns the same. Maybe change out one thing for another. So if you would have usually had a sandwich for lunch, but now maybe you want to have a soup because that's what's in now, then go ahead and change that out. Like, I'm not saying you can't do that, but just try your best to keep your energy balance the same regarding what you're outputting by continuing to exercise and do the things you were doing in the summer. And by keeping your nutrition at a moderate pace. Try not to overeat so much, especially when it's something that can happen. Another thing that we can do in the winter is go ahead and get you doesn't have to be a fancy one. You can use the step thing on your phone. You can get like a little small Fitbit off of Amazon or somewhere, but let's keep our step count at a certain level. This will help you with the tip I gave initially of continuing to move more. So you can keep a step goal the same, whether that be pacing around your apartment, whether that be going to an indoor track, whether that be taking your fake dog on a walk for 15 minutes outside. But just do your best to try to hit that same step goal every single day throughout the winter time as best as you can. Because again, it's all about continuing to move our bodies and beating this feeling of lethargy and wanting to be indoors all day long. And then my last tip, I'll just say, don't stress too much. We know that these things are going to happen. We know that holidays are coming up, and I want you to still have a good time and enjoy those foods that you are going to have. Like, you can even go ahead and tell yourself that, like, I'm probably going to gain 3 to 5 pounds of weight this winter, and just be okay with that. However, though, if you are on a weight loss journey, or if you are wanting to start one, or you want to keep your weight the same, like you don't want the extra pounds, and these are some things that you can do and be mindful of, and try to combat that. So while there's nothing we can do about the lack of sunlight, something we can do about our bodies wanting to continue to hold on to fat because it's getting cold, we can do something about what we're eating and how much we're moving, because that's what it comes down to. So yes, it's cold. Yes, you want to be inside. Yes, it's sad because we're barely getting to see the sun, but there are things we can do about that. We can create ambiances in our home. Maybe we can get more lights. Maybe we can get more, just stuff, so that when you come home, you feel like happy, you feel energetic, and you want to be alive. Find winter activities to do. Find new. Well, let me not say new restaurants to try, because that's going to be a problem. But just like find ways to go out and explore that's going to keep you moving. I just feel that when you know what's coming, it's your responsibility to prepare for it. That would be like knowing a hurricane's about to come, or knowing some other natural disaster is coming, and then you're doing nothing to prepare for it. Like, you're not going to the store to buy more water in case you can't get out. You're not, trying to, whatever. Like, it's just when you know something is coming, it's your duty to prepare for it. So now that I'm telling you that it's not me saying like, oh, this might happen. This is going to happen in the wintertime. So it's up to you to do what you can to combat that, so that you can still reach your goals, so you can still be happy with yourself. Because when you think about it, I'm already telling you that just based off of sunlight alone, we're going to feel low energetic. And so can you imagine also piling on that, you just feeling like crap about your body because, maybe you're just struggling and you want to lose weight, but now you're gaining weight. So now every day you're waking up and you're seeing the scale going up, and now you're just feeling even more like crap. Like, it's a cycle. So if we can stop the cycle, we can reverse it and feel better about it. So you don't have to gain weight in this winter if you don't want to. You can keep your weight the same, at least maintenance. Maybe you might not be losing weight, but staying the same weight is also a great goal to achieve for the wintertime, if weight loss is your overall goal. But per usual, I'm just rambling now. So thank you for watching this video. Again, our problem with winter is lack of movement and abundance of eating. So to combat that, we want to move more and eat the same, or even eat less. Balance of the energies. That's actually, I think I'll that's what I'll title this: Winter Weight, Balancing the Energies. I would actually have to think about that, but the video will already be out by the time. Yeah, doesn't matter. Thanks for watching this video. If you liked it, you know what to do. Give me that thumbs up. I appreciate you being here. I'll catch you in the next one. As always, don't forget to crush it.